Okay, welcome back. So we're going to do this in two parts today. Sorry about that, I had a visitor walk in while I was recording. So we'll do the video in two parts, and that's probably divine intervention. So yeah, the chaos we're seeing in the world at the moment, it's very much a part, I feel, of the outer planetary movements that we're going through now, and it can be very overwhelming. So remember to look after yourselves, take some rest and rejuvenation time, because the energies are very intense right now. Obviously, we've been saying this for a few years, but particularly so now. There's a lot of energy out there, not all of it pretty, and also we're seeing Mother Earth reacting to our collective anger through the expression of fire energy. We're seeing obviously some wildfires that can be concerning, and also volcanic activity, and of course, as we're always seeing, really, earthquakes here and there and everywhere. So yeah, it's very important to ground yourself and take good care of yourself and give yourself periods of rest. A lot of people aren't sleeping too well now. Could be partially due to lighter evenings in the northern hemisphere, but also obviously there's a lot of solar flares around at the moment, and also, of course, the Schumann resonance spiking to unprecedented levels. So we're certainly in volatile times, so it's important to ground yourself, and you can do that obviously through being in nature, grounding exercises such as yoga, tai chi, qigong, eating grounding foods, root vegetables, potatoes, whether you like them or not, particularly good for that. And just trying to remain calm and anchored whenever you can, because obviously if we get swept away by all the anger and emotions, it's not good for our own well-being, although it's very easy to become swept away and of course concerned with all the difficulties and challenges we're facing as a collective human species at the moment. But what we must do is remember that we chose to be here, we chose to incarnate at this time. And honestly, I always feel like there's nothing thrown at us that we can't, at least on a soul level, handle. So when it feels challenging, try to remember and focus in on your own inner power. I'm getting that message a lot right now. For me personally, remember who you are, remember your own power. And I know that can be difficult, and it's easier said than done sometimes. So yeah, be gentle with yourself as well. Give yourself some human times, some human interaction, and as much time as you can in nature. And if you live in a big city and you can only do that by getting to a park, then do that. And just connect with the heart as much as possible. It's important that we do try and stay grounded now, because we do have a lot of planetary activity coming up until 2026 with these outer planets. I have touched on this in a previous video. Pluto obviously next year will move into Aquarius in November, but we have some back and forth movement between Capricorn and Aquarius still going on, which will shake things up a little bit more. Then in 2025 Neptune will move to Aries from its natural sign of Pisces, so that's going to be an interesting time. It also begins a whole new cycle, of course, around the zodiac, and I will do a full video on that nearer the time, because I think crossing that Aries point is very, very significant on a collective level, and especially in terms of our belief systems, our spiritual awakening and our spiritual journeys. And then in 2026 the other outer planet, Uranus, will move into Gemini. So that always brings change, shakes things up at the moment. As I've touched on before, it's going through Taurus, so it's shaking up our value system and our finances, which we are definitely seeing, and our economic structures, our financial systems. And then when it moves into Gemini, which is about communications and learning, I think we're going to see changes, hopefully to the education system, to make it more suitable for the children of today, really, because it's kind of still functioning in the past largely, and the children probably need a different kind of education now anyway, the ones coming through, born in this century. And also I feel like social media, of course, will have the possibility of seeing more and more AI, but also We have to remember our humanness. So I think social media platforms will undergo massive changes in the second half of this decade under the Uranus influence. New computer technologies indeed could come forward, but I think the social media platforms will come from a place of more integrity and cooperation. There'll be less data collection, for example, and algorithms and advertising. There'll be more from the heart and more about sharing and cooperation, which is also another theme of where we're heading now. We're being shown very strongly now the need for unity consciousness. So now I thought I'd draw a couple of cards live on camera. So I haven't drawn these using, as I say, the dragon deck. So we'll do that one first. I'll put my glasses on for this one. Okay, so let's have a card for the solstice energy and the next couple of weeks in particular. Okay, energy for the next couple of weeks and the solstice in particular. See what message, what dragon energy wants to come through. The dragon's very powerful fourth dimensional energies, or able to step their energy down to fourth dimension and be very much active in helping us. So let's pull a card. Okay, and the card we have is, well, taken aback a bit there, Source Dragon. Sorry, it's obviously backwards, the writing. So this is one of the very few, very higher vibrational ninth dimensional cards in the deck, and connects directly to source energy, attunes you to the infinite, basically, to the highest power, source, God, whichever term you like to use. Be still. In the silence, magic can happen. Be in the moment. I think that's a message that applies to us all, doesn't it, in these chaotic times. Be still. In the silence, magic can happen. Be in the moment. It's so easy now to, of course, get dragged into possibilities of the future. And also, of course, looking backwards in the past, you see the infinity symbol here up at the top of the dragon. So that's a very, very powerful card, reminding us that Source is with us, that we are Source, that we're all divine energy, divine sparks. And none of this is real. It feels very real. So that is a beautiful, beautiful card for the solstice, and I think a very powerful message. Now let's go with the deck of crystal allies. Now I haven't got the actual booklet with me, and although I used to be very, very heavily into crystals years ago, my knowledge has sort of seeped gradually out of my head on crystals now, but we'll try and tap into this intuitively. It'll be interesting to see what we get. So let's have a card for the solstice, please. What have we got for today and a couple of weeks going forward? Let's pick one. Okay, that one wants to come out. Okay, another very, very good card for the time. In fact, I picked out a tiger's eye a couple of days ago out of a little bag, interestingly. And tiger's eye is a very optimistic fire energy kind of card. You can see the fire element around the edge of the card here. And the word at the top there, if you can make it out, is balance. Wow, yes. Very much a time of balance. Balancing the dark and the light. Balancing our shadow and the spiritual good within. And a time, I feel like this one's got a message not just of balance but of unity consciousness, which is a big focus now. If we could all wake up tomorrow, wave a magic wand and be in unity consciousness, then the world would transform overnight. But of course it's never that simple as humans. So, but this is our focus and where we're heading. And unity consciousness is really bringing everything back to the centre. So what we have seen, of course, over the last few years in particular, is a lot of division going on. More and more sort of division and hatred and judgment coming up, and I feel that's been perpetuated a lot in the media, quite honestly, and encouraged almost. We're seeing it on a vast array of subjects in the world, more and more division, not just politically and economically, but over so many different subjects. And we saw it a lot during the pandemic on social media, a lot of arguing and division and divided sides. And whilst, of course, we are entitled to have our opinions and our beliefs, at the end of the day, we have to remember the interconnectedness and the need going forward now into the future for cooperation rather than competition. So I think finding the balance. But remembering that Tiger's Eye is also a very joyful, it's connected with sort of the late afternoon energies, interestingly, which was when the solstice took place today, in fact at 2:58 p.m. Universal Time. Or was it 3:58? No, it was 3:58. So late afternoon energies, perfect for Tiger's Eye, which yes, very much connected to positivity, joyous, jubilant energy. And I think particularly in the northern hemisphere where we're in the summer now, that's an energy we can tap into a little bit more easily on those long summer days. So yeah, some interesting cards there. Wow, Source Dragon and a very positive Tiger's Eye. So I hope that brings us some positive energy in the next couple of weeks. But it really is all about staying grounded now and remembering our power, the divine within, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and that's another thing that has to be brought into balance, and that recognition that we hold both energies within. It's very easy to fall into one or the other, particularly related to our own gender. But we have both energies within, and as we have dark and light within. And my website, Black Gold Alchemy, is all about finding the nuggets of gold within the shadow and acknowledging the dark and light, because we cannot ascend without descending first into the darkness, acknowledging what is there, accepting it, taking responsibility for it, not hanging around for too long in the victim energy. Yes, some of the things that happen to us, particularly in childhood and early years, it's not something that we feel we necessarily take responsibility for. It happened to us and we were innocent children, but we have to try and remember also that on a soul level, this is a lesson we called in, however traumatic it can sometimes be, and it's sometimes hard to believe that, I know. So it's an interesting concept, but we call these things in on a soul level. And another realization that's important, of course, is that when we're born, although we are an infant and rather helpless as on a human level, as a child and a baby, and reliant on our parents and carers, that we are, of course, coming in as very wise old souls very often. So it's important to remember that too. And children hold the future in their hands, but also a lot of wisdom. And the children coming in now, many of them are much higher frequency than many of us already on Earth. They've come in to lead the way, and I think the older generations here now who are on a path towards their own healing journey and spiritual path and unity and oneness, realise that and actually want to support these children. So the children, we always say the children are our future, but I think that's never been more true than it is now. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed something different and the 2 videos today, because we had a nice little break, a welcome interruption in some ways, because I had to have the trash taken away, so it's quite important on a physical level. So that could be quite interesting. Trash taken away. Okay, feel into that. Anyway, wishing you, I won't prattle on any longer in typical Gemini fashion, wishing you a beautiful rest of the solstice wherever you are, and you may already be on the other side of that down in the far eastern parts of the world. And I hope you've had a lovely summer's day if you're in the northern hemisphere and perhaps got out and did something special, or had your own ceremony at home, or lit a candle or whatever you did, and Also, yeah, it's another time, a bit like a new and full moon, to set intentions. So if you haven't done that already and feel to do so, let's do that. And perhaps actually the fire energy, lighting a candle or burning some incense, is not a bad idea as well. It seems to indicate some fire energy. And let's not forget the source dragon. Wow, major high vibrational energy coming in. So let's try and tap into that and be the anchors and the beacons in these chaotic times. But it's all unfolding as it should. Sending you so much love, peace and joy for the rest of your day and the rest of the month, and see you soon with a new video. Thank you for watching.